Hey YouTube friends, it has been a little while since I uploaded a video. We have been on family vacation here and also just taking a break from school before we start our new school year. We generally start in July, but we will be taking it easy though until the fall, just because we like to enjoy those summer months and the warm weather, just going to the pool and the beach. And we only have a few of those really good weeks that we get. So we try not to add too much school to our plate, but I will be making some curriculum videos here soon. Once everything is kind of settled, I get the motivation to start doing those things. But those are coming. So if you're curious or wondering, I will upload some curriculum videos soon. So in today's video, I just want to share with you our experience with Heritage Studies 2. We have tried this both ways, or two ways that I know of anyway, which is the distance learning, and we have tried the teacher-led. So I'm going to start with just telling you what you need if you decide to do teacher-led, and then what you would get and need to have for distance learning. Okay, so for teacher-led, what you're going to need is a student text. If you're teaching more than one child, it's up to you. It depends on your children's ages and their abilities. You might be able to just get one and have your kids look on. But the idea of this is that it's their textbook. It's small, it's not very thick or big. It's on the shorter side, so it's easy for them to handle. And it's easy for them to be able to read at the grade level. But you're going to get the exact same information in here that you'll get in the teacher's guide, which leads me to the next thing you need. You need the teacher's edition if you're going to do teacher-led. The teacher's edition has all the script for all the lessons that you're going to teach. It also has a CD in the way back, which we have not used. But this is the teacher's toolkit. This is where you get additional like handouts and visuals and things like that. You just pop that into a DVD-ROM or CD-ROM, I should say, in a computer. And you can get all the access to those things there. We did not use that. The other thing you're going to need is the activity manual. And this is just the student work pages that they're going to do that are going to match the lessons that you are on. The other thing you might want to have is the tests and test keys. This comes as a package. If you get the whole curriculum kit or the subject kit, I believe these came in that for us. These are just the tests and the test key. If you want to administer those, we only did a couple of tests, so I didn't really think it was necessary, but you might want to use them, so you would need that for teacher-led. So for distance learning now, what you're going to need is just the tests. You're going to have to get these on your own, purchase them through BJU. You're going to have the student text, activity manual, and then what you're going to need is the distance learning just handouts that you're going to order through them when you purchase the distance learning. And that's going to have the video lesson guide. It's going to have the student handouts and just the schedule in there. And that's about it for distance learning. And if you order distance learning, you'll get all the access and things that you need for the things you're going to do online. Okay, so that's what you need for those two parts. So let's get into how this all worked out for us. Now, this is just specific to our family. All homeschools are different. I'm just going to talk about our experience, and you can take from it what you like, disregard what you don't like, and hopefully just use this as just a learning experience from one family to another. Okay, so we started the school year with the intent of using this family style. We found a history program that we really loved and enjoyed, and and we started using that. So this kind of went to the side because I knew this was a 1-semester course and I didn't really feel like there was a rush to complete this. So I decided to just wait on it. Also because this is kind of a social studies curriculum. It's going to cover things like community and local government, and then government in general, some geography, and then, some early American history as well. So because it's 1 semester, I figured I could do this at a later time during the school year. So there was no rush because I knew I could complete it. The other thing that happened was that when I did get to it, I really didn't have enough steam to do the teacher-led. So I decided that maybe what would be best for us was to try the distance learning. I had been eyeing it for quite some time, and I thought it would be a good time to try it during the second half of the year and just get a semester done that way through video lessons. So I went ahead and purchased the video lessons when they were on sale. So during this time in December, BJU had a subject that you could do for distance learning. You could do it for $99. So we went ahead and purchased that. So when I purchased that, I already had all this other stuff at home. So I already had the activity manual, which is what you need, and I already had one of these student texts, and I had the tests, of course. So I already had that. So all I had to purchase was the video lessons for the $99, and then BJU sent me this little package with the video lesson guide. So when you get your package in the mail, you're going to get username sent to your email. You're going to get your login credentials and all that. So for your video lesson guide, this is going to just break down very simply day 1, video 1, the contents of what your child is going to learn, the materials they need, and the text they're going to be using, the student activity pages they're going to do. It gives them the assignment, and then anything that the facilitator, the parent, teacher, whomever is helping the student with this, this just a brief introduction and instructions for the teacher. So it's very organized and simple to follow. You get online and you put in your student login, and they just click and they go. So that is this part. So just so you can keep track if you want to look ahead and just be prepared and organized. That is there. The other thing you get is these student handouts. Now these are different times you're going to have to give the student one of these and put it in for their lessons. The thing that I was really bummed about was the fact that these were all black and white. So while the teacher is teaching, she's showing a really nice color print of this basically, but then the student gets to their handout and it's black and white. So it's kind of like, not as fun, not as bright and engaging. But these are things that you're gonna have to have ready for your child, or they're gonna have to go in their binder and do. There's also some project things in here for when you make the continent cutouts. This is to practice the continents. I already had something available, so I used what we had, but this is the same premise, but again, black and white. We made a compass rose. They have to cut out these things. And we made a globe, which was probably one of our favorites. This all of my kids actually did this, and it was a fun activity to do. So you get the idea of the things you have in here. The other thing your student is going to have for each lesson are these vocabulary cards. So the vocabulary cards are about 12 to 15 cards. So they have the word, and then they have to fill out the definition in the back. So they do that and they review it throughout the course. Then they have some activity manual worksheets that they have to go over after they do their lessons, which you're going to find in the student activity book, which is in color, which is awesome. And of course your student's going to have to read out of this and follow along with the teacher. So these tabs are here because you're going to be asked to set these up. You and your child will do these together, or you can do it for them. They have these like long strips that are supposed to just sit inside the book, but that didn't work. It fell out pretty quickly. My daughter got frustrated. Every time she opened the book, they would fall out. So I just put some Post-it notes here and glued the tabs there so it would stay put in her book while she was going to those sections when the teacher had asked her to do that. So that was simple enough to do. Miss Gerald is the teacher for this course, and she is so lovely. She's very bright and engaging and friendly, and my daughter really liked her a lot. So the lessons themselves are about 15 minutes long. The child has to do a few things. They have to be able to, now this is if you want them to be independent. So my thought for this going in was, yes, this was going to make it independent for her, because this was something I was going to teach all three of my kids. And if only one of my children were going to do it, I didn't want to have to take my focus and put it all in one place and then just have to scramble between three kiddos. And if you've been doing this for a little while and you have young kids in like the early grades, you know exactly what I'm saying. It's just mind scrambling to be in all these different places all the time. And so when she was doing this, while it's supposed to be independent, I guess, she needed me a lot to figure out what happened to the computer. The screen got smaller, or the volume was low, and how can I put the volume up? And I don't know what Miss Gerald said, and she wants me to get this worksheet and I don't know where it is, stuff like that. So I prepared most of the things for her, but there's a lot of things the child has to get out. Like if it's a handout, they have to turn to the handout. They have to pull out a worksheet. They have to get their vocabulary cards, for example. I try to make it as easy for her as possible, but she'd have to get them out. She'd have to put them in order and all sorts of things. She had to read along with the teacher. And some things were frustrating for her. The fact that sometimes the teacher would read the chapter with her, and sometimes she'd only read a small section and then move on to the next part of the lesson. So my daughter felt like she just wanted to keep going. She wanted to read more, but the idea was to have the child read it later on their own. But that was hard for my daughter to do. So she would just pause the video, finish reading it, and then go back and watch the video again. So while the lessons were only like 18 minutes long, they dragged out quite a bit, and it took a lot of time, and it was hard spending this much time on a subject, and I just wasn't prepared for it, and neither was she. And so we didn't really finish it because it was taking up a lot of time, and it wasn't as fun and engaging as I thought it was going to be, and as she thought it was going to be as well. So we ended up kind of stopping it and just using this as a read aloud, just the student text as a read aloud. We got through, I think, a couple of tests, and that was it. I didn't bother doing any more tests. This is great as a read aloud. There's a ton of information in here. It's a great read. So I feel like it was fine just reading it. I had the teacher's edition here, so I was able to open it up to the chapter that I was reading in the book, and then just add these just additional questions if I wanted to, kind of like what I would have done if it was teacher-led anyway, but with a lot less stress, because I wasn't worried about the activity manual or anything like that. So that is it, you guys. I think that BJU does great. I really like their Bible, as you know. I've talked about it so many times. Heritage Study is very age appropriate. I like that the activity manual and the student text, it's all very age appropriate and cognitively appropriate for their age. So I love that. I love how BJU does that. They manage to teach a tough subject to a specific age group. And I've seen it time and time again. They do a great job at that. The distance learning, however, is not, it's just not our style. It doesn't work for our family, but it might work for yours. So this is just my experience with it, our children's experience with it. I hope this was helpful to you. If you have any questions, please leave them down below. I'll be sure to answer them if I can, or direct you to someone else who can if I know of anyone. So thank you so much for watching this, and I hope to talk to you in the next video. Bye.